Good morning. I'm Jim Grumbach. I am a member. Good morning. I'm going to start again. I'm Jim Grumbach. I'm a member of your parish committee. We are pleased that you are here in person in our beautiful sanctuary or online. We have a special welcome for visitors. We're always pleased to see new folks come and join us. We invite you to join us downstairs or online for community time following the service. Our mission is to build community, to search for meaning, to deepen our spirituality, and to make a better world. If you have questions about First Parish or Unitarian Universalism, someone from our membership team will be at the welcome table during coffee hour to greet you and answer any questions. Reverend Lisa and Kate Holland, our Director of Lifespan Education, are also available after the service and would love to meet and speak with you. A big thanks to all of our other service participants whose names are in the order of service. Please remember to silence your cell phones for our time together. Join me now in taking a moment to say hello to one another, including a wave to those online. A heartfelt welcome to all. Let us now turn our hearts and minds to worship. And this morning we have a couple of announcements. First of all, the holiday sale, which so many people put time and effort into, is continuing in the Commons after the service, and we would appreciate your visiting the tables and, if you feel like it, purchasing some gifts. And now I would like to present the planned giving team, which has a special announcement.
Good morning. I'm Jan Miner, and surrounded by members of our little team that are trying to promote planned giving more here at First Parish. And we have a little presentation for you. So I would like to direct my first question to Jim. So what is planned giving?
Jan, simply, it is one of multiple ways of gifting or giving money or other assets to a charity at the time of one's death.
Aha, I didn't know that. So what does this have to do, John, with First Parish?
Well, I don't know if you were all aware of this, but former members who have made planned gifts make it possible to do certain things like paint this building, upgrade the parish house and its windows, replace our furnaces, pay for the new kitchen. Our wonderful annual canvas doesn't cover all of our expenses. If we want to ensure financial stability for our staff, our programs, and our outreach, helping build our endowment becomes critical.
Well, that all sounds wonderful, and I'm so glad that these renovations are made available because of this. But I'm wondering, Barbara, who should consider a planned gift?
Well, planned gifts are not for everyone. Many folks are too young or have family or other obligations that come first. However, there are many congregants who have expressed an interest in making a planned gift.
Aha, well that's nice that we're all considering that. But I'm wondering, Claire, why now?
Excellent question. Well, too many of us have the intent, but getting to putting down in writing is something that too often is put off for another day. And, what simply just goes by with the passage of time. But now is the best time, especially since we can demonstrate to our called minister the generosity of fiscal support within our congregation.
Aha. Well, what if, though, for some reason, I've made a planned gift, like in beneficiary in my IRA or something like that, and my plans change, or my family circumstances change. Barbara, what do I do?
What we are asking for now is simply an indication of your intent to help First Parish secure our future. Remember, you can change your estate plans at any time you choose, or if it's necessary.
Aha, so that means they're not always binding. In fact, they're non-binding intentions. So, well, John, how do I learn more about this if I'm kind of curious and want to know a little bit more and think that there's something I could do in the area of planned giving?
Well, you can join with a lot of other people who have already made their indication. Come talk to one of us during coffee hour or contact us at any time. You can change your plans. You can use lots of different methods to consider, including life insurance, retirement accounts, or other sources to make a planned gift. And remember, what we're asking for is simply an indication. That is, I'm thinking about doing this. Doesn't mean you have to have it done yet. And you can always update those documents as time allows. We've received commitments from fellow members of the congregation and invite you all to consider a planned gift.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was never a formal introduction, so that's Claire Lewis and John Thompson and Barbara Buell and Jan Miner and myself, Jim Grumbach. That's the team if you want to talk to any of us. At this point, I'm going to invite the Cullen family to come up and light the chalice.
Good morning. Please join me in saying our covenant. With open minds and loving hearts, we gather to search for meaning, to care for one another, and to work together for a better world. There's a lot of candles today.
Beautiful choir, thank you. Just now we lit the three candles for this third Sunday in the season of Advent. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the beginning of the church year, recognizing the transforming power of the holy in the world. Each week until Christmas, we light a new candle on the Advent wreath. The light of Advent grows brighter and brighter as we celebrate our coming together as a community. Good morning. I'm Reverend Lisa Perrywood. My pronouns are she and her. And this morning we make space in our hearts, in our spirits, in this place, for all of our feelings about the holiday season. For some of us, this truly is the most wonderful time of the year. For others, memories of losses of all kinds, of holiday traditions that are no longer, or too keen an awareness of all that's going on in the world right now, may make it harder to get in the spirit, at least not 100%. Giving space for all of our feelings, saying this too belongs to grief, disappointment, or numbness, may give us the space for more joy to creep in, or at least for more peace in our hearts. This is Blue Christmas by Carrie Kopnick, based on the mantra, "This Too Belongs" by meditation teacher Tara Brach. The sound of rain, not cheerful songs, a quiet rocking chair, not traditions of the season, the early sunset, not dancing lights, loss, tender heart, hollow soul, heavy days. Grief is welcome, a sacred part of the mourning, of the bereft, of the weeping. Amidst the celebrating, this too belongs. This too is holy. It binds us to our ancestors, the earth, the stars. Yet still, a steaming mug of tea warms the belly, the dog wags its tail, and the cat purrs. There are laughter and tears, sometimes both, beside the joy. This too belongs. Sharing human suffering is connection. Hearts like stones are held by all that is. Grief and light intertwined. This too belongs. Dear friends, come now into this sacred and beloved space and let us worship together. And now, please rise as you are willing and or able. And I'm going to just say a PS to this. If the ushers during this hymn could pass out the stones that are in the basket in the back so that everyone gets a stone, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And now, please rise as you're willing and or able and join in singing hymn number 241, In the Bleak Midwinter.
Good morning.
My name is Kate Holland. I'm the Director of Lifespan Education here at First Parish, and my pronouns are she and her. So I'm going to ask a question first. Who here has had a dog, a cat, a fish, a hedgehog, something special that lives with you or you have enjoyed in your lifetime? I see almost all of the hands in here raising yes. So my story today is about a little boy named Liam and his dog named Fritz. Fritz and Liam were the best of friends. They loved playing in the park together, running, and Fritz knew how to catch the frisbee, and it was so much fun. And Fritz, when they were home, liked to climb into Liam's little tent that was in his room and lie down while Liam read. They were just the best of friends, and he loved being with Fritz and Liam. One day, sadly, Fritz wasn't feeling so well, and he wouldn't get out of his bed. And so Mom and Dad said it was time to take him to the vet to have him checked. They got to the vet, and the vet looked at him and said, "We're going to need to keep him for a few days, and we're going to see how he does." Liam wanted to stay. He wanted to be with Fritz and not to leave him. But Dad said he had to. When they got home that night, Liam climbed into his little tent in the darkness, and he cried. So in his tent, he suddenly saw a light come in. And it was his dad who climbed into the little tent with him. And he said, "I can see that you're really sad and that you're worried about Fritz." And he said, "But you know what? You need to have hope. And hope is like a little light we hold on to when it's hard. It reminds us that there's something good that can happen." So he gave Liam the light, and Liam sat in his tent with the light, and he thought, I'm going to keep the hope. I hope Fritz is sleeping well. And he turned the light on. And he turned the light back on and said, "I hope Fritz is eating steak and enjoying it a lot." And he turned the light off. And then he thought again, and he said, "I hope Fritz is sleeping in the most wonderful, soft bed that there can be." And he turned the light off. Eventually, the lantern went, like no batteries. It wouldn't light up anymore for him. But he looked out the window, and the moon was in the sky. And he said, "That's a little piece of light. It's a little bit of hope." And so he said, "I'll hold that and remember to hope for Fritz, that he'll be better, that he'll be home soon." A few days later, Liam woke up, and he was so excited because Fritz was home, and he was doing better, and he was feeling really happy that his friend was with him. I like this story because it reminds us, even when it is the darkest, hopefully we can find just a little bit of hope, just a little bit to hold on to. And I hope that when you are all in a hard place, that you remember that there are little pieces of light all over. The moon in the sky at night, a candle, even the sunshine in a little square on the floor. I hope that we can all hold on to that hope, and even with each other, help each other find that hope when we need it. So I am going to invite my friends to go down to their seat class, and I'm going to invite you all to sing Gaudeamus Hodie. Oh, we're going this way.
Gaudeamus Hodie, Gaudeamus, Gaudeamus Hodie. Let's be joyful, let's be joyful, let's be joyful every day. Let's be joyful, let's be joyful every day. The offering we give each week is a symbol of our commitment to this faith community and to the life and works of our congregation. Instructions on how to donate online are in the order of service. If you are here for the first time, please let the plate pass you by. You are our guest. We receive your generosity with gratitude and in appreciation of all that sustains us. Your gifts maintain the strength of this community and all it does within these walls, as well as the work we do together to make the world a better place. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Levens, one of the lay ministers for this congregation. Oh, I thought I could hear. Good morning. I'll try again. I'm Debbie Levens, one of the lay ministers for this congregation. And this is a time in our service that we set aside to share the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts. By sharing and by giving witness, we affirm our covenant to care for one another. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like to share, please come forward now. Or if you need me to bring you the microphone, hold up your hand and I'll bring you the microphone. Have a joy. Let us light one final candle for all the joys and the sorrows that we've expressed and those that are not spoken. May it be so.
We invite you now to sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life, quietly in your pews. This morning we have a ritual of release. Hopefully everyone has a stone in their hand. If you didn't get one, raise your hand and one of the ushers will bring one to you. And if you're on Zoom, you might hold an imaginary stone in your palm, unless you have a stone nearby. These vaguely heart-shaped stones were picked up on the beach late last summer as I anticipated being with all of you this year. I invite you now, holding your stone, to let yourself feel any of the heavier feelings that might arise around the holiday season. Some of us are missing loved ones. We'll be facing empty spaces at the holiday table this year due to deaths, illnesses, distance, separation, or other losses. Others are remembering holidays past in happier times, perhaps the holidays of our childhoods or our children's childhoods, bittersweet memories of times that cannot be recreated no matter how we try. Still others are filled with anxiety or dread for the state of our world, of our country, perhaps fearing for the safety of neighbors, friends, family members, or ourselves in the days to come. And many of us have mixed feelings as we try to reach for as much joy as we can while sadness or unease lurks beneath the surface. All of this and more belongs in this time. All of your feelings, all of our feelings belong. Now imagine those feelings or heaviness of any kind sinking into that stone that you hold. Just imagine that for a moment. I now invite you into a ritual of release. As Polly plays, you're invited to bring your stone up and place it into this bowl of water in the center. And as you place your stone, may you feel some release, some lightness in your being. I'll also be down here offering a blessing, an anointing with rose oil on your hand or forehead if you wish. I think many of us could use a blessing this year. The scent of rose oil is said to unblock the heart chakra, opening us to more compassion, more self-love, and greater openness to trust. Now we'll begin. I'll invite the center rows to come forward and around the side, and then the side rows can follow around the back and come forward. This morning, in the spirit of our Blue Holidays service, we introduce the beautiful song, I Believe, by Mark Miller. The words of this song are based on the poetry of an anonymous Jewish person during the Holocaust. The words are said to have been scrawled on a wall at the end of the war and have now been shared with the world, reminding us of the resilience of hope. Marcia McPhee, who introduced us to this song, says, "May we never forget what can happen when evil is allowed to go unchecked, and may we always use our music, our art, our poetry, even our simple acts of kindness as inspiration to create goodness, not evil, in this world." Let us embrace with faith the belief that we can do whatever needs to be done to bring more light into the world. May it be so. Amen.
Good morning. I'm Phil Giudice. And these are the Grievers Holiday Bill of Rights by Bruce Conley, lightly edited by me. You have a right to say time out anytime you need it. Time to let up, to find release, to step away from the holidays, to start over. You have a right to tell it like it is when people ask, "How are you?" You have the right to tell them how you really feel and not just what they want to hear. And you also have the right to smile and say, "You're fine," because there isn't really a listening present. Some people may never understand anyway. You have the right to some bah humbug. You don't have to be jolly old St. Nicholas all the time. You're not a bad person just because you don't feel like singing Christmas carols all the time. You have a right to do things differently. There is no rule that says you must always do the holidays the same way. You can do 10 cards instead of 100, or no cards at all. You can open presents at somebody else's house. You can do without a tree. You can have a pizza for Christmas dinner. The list is endless. You have a right to be where you want to be at home or with relatives, be anywhere you choose. There's no rule that says you must stay home. You have a right to some fun. When you have a day that you feel like doing something just for fun, then do it. Don't be afraid of what someone else may say if they see you laughing and having a good time. Laughter is important. You have a right to change directions in midstream. Holiday grief may arise without warning. Be ready to go, and you may be ready to go to do something or somewhere and suddenly be overwhelmed. When that happens, it's okay to change your mind. There's plenty of time in life to be predictable. Change when you need to. You have a right to do things differently at times. Open presents at a different time, serve your meal at a different time, go to bed at a different time. You don't have to follow anyone's rules. You have a right to rest, peace, and solitude. You don't have to be busy all the time. Take a nap whenever you want to. Take time to pray and to walk and to meditate, to recharge your spirit. And you have the right to do it all again differently next year. Just because you changed some things this year doesn't mean you can't go back and do them differently the next year. Those are the Grievers' Bill of Rights.
Thank you, Phil. This is Cynthia Fredo. Christmas comes whether you're ready or not. I'm always in a bit of a shock when December 1st arrives on the calendar. I feel like there should be at least another week beyond Thanksgiving before I can even contemplate the next holiday. I think that the hardest part to reconcile is that the heart is not always in sync with angels, presents, babes in a manger, and the ho, ho, ho that is Christmas. Sometimes it feels like you just go through the motions because that's what's expected. Sometimes I wish Christmas would take a vacation and return midwinter next year. I'm with Cynthia, and every year this same unreadiness seems to happen to me. Somehow, once again, the early darkness took me by surprise again this year, and I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. It's true that in just 1 week, the days will begin to get longer, but spring is still far off. Sometimes, when the end gets closer, things feel even harder. I remember that from the dragged out ending of the pandemic. And some of us still feel that way. Sometimes we long to touch a particular shoulder for comfort, to hug old friends, to warmly greet new ones. But the holiday time many of us cherish might not be the same for us this year. So I'm here to say to you, hold on. This is the time of year when my brother Andy was fighting his last weeks of a 15-month battle with cancer. More than 50 years ago now. He was 18 years old. Instead of fiercely clinging to life, relying on the tender care of his family, he should have been out partying with his friends, should have been cracking jokes, teasing his sisters, starting snowball fights, begging to drive mom's car. Instead, he lay in the bed he would die in 2 days after Christmas, a memory we can never erase. This time of year is hard for my family, for so many families. Memories of those we've lost, the empty chairs at the table, the holiday phone calls we won't have, mixed with the grief of anticipated loss. The nieces, nephews, children, or grandchildren we'll never meet. The big events, weddings, graduations, birthdays we'll never celebrate. It's all very hard. And in some ways, at some seasons, it doesn't necessarily get that much easier. There's a Gillian Welch song that really spoke to me in recent weeks as the post-election news sank in and the holidays approached relentlessly. Hard times ain't gonna ruin my mind. Because hard times can do that. They can wear us down, weigh on our emotions, our spirits, our minds, keep our best selves at bay, causing us to lash out or turn inward. Meanwhile, all our training in life is to move forward, keep moving on, push the hard times behind us, and keep trudging forward, putting one foot in front of the other. And the truth is that memories, especially ones of grief and loss, have a way of intruding into this plan. I know that's been true for me. We actually need different training, and that is what this service is all about. Tara Brach's mantra for us, this too belongs. By not resisting, says Brach, we discover the sea of awareness that has room for all the waves. In this season of joy and hope, as we move into increasing daylight, all of our mixed feelings still belong. We need to take time to move through any pain or sadness, to allow ourselves to feel it, to go deeply into the blue. The only way out is through, says poet Robert Frost. And that's what I learned in my psychotherapy training years ago, and also what I experienced in therapy myself. Keep telling the stories, keep letting those feelings in. The pain will never go away entirely. There are memories we don't actually want to forget, but it does get easier. Everything will feel different in relation to that loss, and over time, we'll adjust. We hold on, and then when we're ready, we move forward. The reality is that everything around us may feel different now. The world outside our homes may feel a bit colder, more violent, more uncertain. And then again, I think about the origin of the beautiful piece we heard sung so beautifully, gorgeously by the choir a few minutes ago. I believe, even when. The unknown writer, either while imprisoned in Auschwitz or hiding in Cologne, witnessed evil. Not just a nebulous metaphysical evil, but a horribly concrete historical evil. A genocide we all learned about that our children and their children must learn about. A dark truth we all need to continually face so that this kind of evil can never take hold again. Yet in the face of that evil, this writer still believed in the sun, in love, even in a God who was silent. That writer faced a very uncertain future, still holding on to their belief. By writing on that wall, they were offering their message of faith and hope to others, giving them something to hold on to too. Sometimes we need to hold on to the light of others' hope when our own seems very dim. Because knowing we're not alone can be life-giving. After the death of my father, which followed my brother's death by 2 decades, I joined a bereavement support group, telling my stories, grieving in the company of others who shared the loss of a loved one. It helped. I began to put more photos out around my house, to encourage my family to tell stories at holiday meals, to share them with my children who never knew their Uncle Andy and barely knew their grandfather, whose Alzheimer's made his presence a mere shadow for most of their early childhood. We began to talk about how Andy was a huge football fan, how he rooted for the Giants that last fall, how he always rooted for lost causes, always championed the underdog, about the goofy puns my dad loved, how silly and playful he was, the gentle teasing and practical jokes he played on us as kids. The pain never goes away. But in the same way that removing a bandage after a while helps a wound, giving it more air and light, I began to heal as I talked about my loved ones again. Even telling new friends stories about these beloveds, moving toward the memories like dear old friends, embracing them, holding on. This is Cynthia Fredo again. As I contemplate the state of the world at this moment in time, I cannot think of anything more needed than a reminder of our potential to bring peace and healing and possibility into our lives. We don't always feel it, or see it, or think it is there, but then there comes Christmas, even when we aren't ready to receive it. A reminder that no matter what season of the heart we are in, no matter what struggles or grief are consuming us, Christmas will not let us forget the light that was born in us, even on the darkest night of our souls. So even if you can't deal with all the razzle, dazzle, and expense of this holiday, at the very least, open the inn door and prepare the manger of your heart for the gentle but powerful message that is seeking to be reborn in you. Never forget that you are a child of the universe, and where there is life, there is light and love and hope waiting to be reborn again and again and again. So turn on some twinkling lights, pour yourself a glass of eggnog, or not, and wait for that angel chorus to announce your heart's rebirth. Dear friends, in these dark days, days which are also filled with light and hope and joy, may our separate lights truly become one flame, nourishing our connection to each other. Remember that you are not alone with whatever you are holding. As I look out on your faces this morning, I'm remembering that too. So come all you ragtime kings, come on you dogs and sing, and pick up the dusty old horn and give it a blow. Playing hard times ain't gonna ruin my mind no more. In good times and in hard times, hold on to faith, to hope, to the belief that we will get through it all together. I believe, and I hope you do too. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be. And now, please rise as you are willing and or able, and join in singing hymn number 1045 in the Teal hymnal, There is a Balm in Gilead.
Gilead. are the words of Jane Richardson. This blessing does not mean to take the night away, but it knows its hidden roads, knows the resting spots along the path, and knows what it means to travel in the company of a friend. This is the night where you can trust that any direction you go, you will be walking toward the dawn. Dear friends, take all that we have shared here this morning out into the world. Be a blessing to all those you meet, and may you yourselves be blessed. Amen. Blessed be.